Frank is asking, is there a way to manually enter a trade plus or minus the market price? Yeah, there's the buy ask and buy bid buttons. Here we go. So I've got an oil chart up. All right. So in the trade control panel here, I'll just pop this out here. All right, we can see there's buy ask and buy bid buttons right there, and before these will work, well, actually, let's see. Actually, I do have some order settings in here from last week. It looks like, yeah. So we can see I do have an order set in here. So let me clear all that stuff out now. So before you can get started with BlackBird. You notice how the buttons are a little muted, a little grayed out. All right, so that just tells you that there's no orders defined in BlackBird yet. So clicking the buttons is not going to do anything. Right? It's kind of like trying to submit an ATM that isn't defined. Right? Obviously, Ninja's not going to do anything with an ATM if there's no profit target and stop loss defined with an ATM. So first thing we need to do is at least define some kind of order type. So I'll just do a market entry, and then let's just throw a quick profit target and stop loss in there just to throw something together real fast. Now we can see how the colors on the buttons are a lot brighter now, telling you that there's an order defined, and we can so an order can be submitted now. So to make note, so noticed here that I set up a market entry. Now if I use the buy ask or the buy bid buttons, that's actually going to take that market order and convert it to a limit order or a stop order, depending if it's what you're buying or selling, right? So if I'm buying at the bid, let's move this order here, move this over. So let's see here, the bid 660104. I'll try and get it at what it's at 0403. See what happens. There we go. So, excuse me. My order got in at 05, and then the market just took off without it, right? And so, even though it may say buy market, remember that's just the name of the order. So if we open up BlackBird here, right? What's the name of the order? Market entry, right? So the order name says market entry, but if you're really wanting to buy at the bid, well, that has to be a limit order sitting at the bid, right? Obviously, if you submit a market order, a market order is going to get filled at the ask when you're buying. So to buy at the bid, BlackBird has to take your market order, right? It has to take your market order and convert it to a limit order. So, and yeah, here we go. We can see the market moved back down and then picked up that order. The same goes for if you're selling at the ask, the same thing would have to happen, right? So if you want to sell at the ask, that has to be a limit order, right? And also, if you really want to see what's going on, of course, we can always take a look at the control center on the orders tab here. Let's see here, where There we go. There is our. So if we look at the name, we can see it's a buy market. We can see it says buy market entry there. So that tells us that was our entry order. And if we look at the order type, we can see it's a limit order there. So here, let me move this over there. So let's see. It looks like the market's going down. So let me do a buy ask. And that got filled right away. But and so there's the order that we just submitted. And so if we're wanting to buy at the ask, right, that's basically where market orders get filled, is at the ask when you're buying. But just in case, because if you're in a volatile market, BlackBird will submit a limit order at that ask price. Because you never know what's going on. As soon as that order, as soon as you click that button and an order gets submitted, the market might just pop up a few ticks. And so submitting a limit order will make sure that your entry order is sitting at that ask price whenever that button was clicked on. So, and markets are volatile these days, so literally a few milliseconds after you hit that button, the market could just move higher, and so your entry order will be sure to sit there at that ask price, at least the ask price, that BlackBird was aware of course. We have to keep in mind that when we're using software, there's a lot of things that come into play. Obviously, the speed of the internet, the data has to go through multiple servers before it gets to your computer, and then travels through NinjaTrader to BlackBird, and then back to your broker, and then back to the exchange, right? So while that all takes place pretty darn quickly within milliseconds, well, that's how fast the markets can move these days here. So, yeah. So again, let's try this again. Maybe the market will take off without. Well, it probably won't using a simulated data feed. The simulated data feed moves pretty slowly, a lot slower than markets can move. So there we go. All right, got one in. So I got a buy order at where the ask was, and then the market took off without it. And the point I'm trying to illustrate is that, again, that buy order was converted from let's see here, let's scroll up, there it is. So that market entry order was converted from a market order to a limit order, to ensure that you're buying at where the ask was when the button was hit there. So, okay, anyways, with that little explanation, let me see what else Frank has here. So going back to your original question, you said, is there a way to manually enter a trade plus or minus the market price? So this would allow one to get filled quickly. Are you trying to just get filled at a market price? Sounds like that's the intent of your question. So here, all right, Frank, I'll turn your microphone on there.
Hi, Zach. What I was trying to say, probably poorly, but if one were using a DOM, and let's just say going long, if you place your order one tick, and that was the criteria, it was only one tick above the market, okay, you get ahead of the queue, so you wind up with an immediate fill. But it's only one tick, not necessarily at the ask, which may or may not be one tick.
Okay, yeah, you could. Well, all right. So if you want to, so you don't want to submit a market order. You want to submit, what type of order are you wanting to submit?
Well, I guess it would be a limit order, but I don't know what type of order that results in when you do it on the DOM. But I know I used to do this all the time. If you're submitting a market order, the orders get processed in the direction in the sequence that they're in. So you may or may not get filled with the market order.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're guaranteed to fill if you go. Let's say you're going long and you go one tick above. All right, or if you're going short, you go one tick below. You'll get, because it puts you in the head of the queue because of the price that you're going in at. But what I was saying, if you're using the ask, do you know for sure that it's only one tick? I guess that was my point. I understand what you're saying. You were doing it the ask, but you may be a couple of ticks away from the current market. I believe.
Well, yeah, it depends on how fast the markets are moving for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, the buy ask and the buy bid buttons, you know, BlackBird is capturing where that ask or bid is at the time you hit the button, you know, and yeah, BlackBird asks NinjaTrader, you know, what is the current ask price or what's the current bid price, and then it uses that price and submits a limit order to the market. It's just that simple of a process.
Right. Yes, and I don't think that was equivalent to what I was doing on the DOM.
No,
And that's kind of
no,
what I was. That's kind of what I was looking for.
right. No, it wouldn't be. So yeah, equivalent to what you're doing on the DOM. Um, really, the equivalent of what you're doing on the DOM is a market entry. Um, but if you really insist on using a limit order, um, then let's convert this to a limit order, and we'll make an adjustment to the initial placement. So instead of using the closing price, let's use, we could use the last price, or we can be even more precise. So if you want to go long, let's take the ask price and then add an extra tick to it, or add 2 extra ticks to it, whatever you like to do there. So let's add an extra tick to it, just yeah, to be precise, how you mentioned it. So we'll take the ask, add a tick, and if we're going to do a sell order, then we take the bid and subtract a tick.
Right.
So
Okay, but
yeah,
again, doesn't that assume that the ask is only one tick above the last? But what if it's not?
the ask is where the ask is. I mean, BlackBird and NinjaTrader have no control over that. It's whatever the market dictates. So
I understand that. I understand that. That's what. But I'm getting back to my original comment, which was I didn't want to use the ask because I don't know where it's at. I wanted to use, and maybe it's the last plus one instead of the ask.
So you want to just, oh, okay. So
yeah, in other words, if the current market price is X, I want to go X plus one or X minus one, depending upon the direction, and not be concerned about the bid or the ask.
Gotcha.
Because that puts me ahead of the queue.
Okay, I got you. So in case there's like a 5-tick spread, yeah,
right.
Okay.
Yes.
If there's an extreme spread, all right, I got you. Okay, well, yeah. So we'll just use the last price. There we go. So last price plus one.
That would do it.
Yeah. So, but of course, your last price could have taken place at the ask. You know.
Yes, yeah.
So outside that spread. So actually, maybe what you might want to do is take the bid. Actually, yeah, you're actually, I think more directly, you're wanting to take the bid. So the bid is going to be right at the bottom of the last price will be the bid plus 1 tick. So that'll get you 1 tick above the bid. So if there's a 5 tick spread, you're at least 1 tick above. You're inside the spread, but above the bid. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
1 tick above the bid. So.
Okay. Then what button do I use then to buy?
I'm sorry. Say that again, please.
What button would I use?
Oh.
On the enter.
Let's see. Yeah, if you hit go long. Oh, yeah, no, it should just be the go long button. Sorry. Hit the go long. And if we look at the order, so we can see it was a limit order that was submitted. So the go long and the go short buttons submit whatever you defined. Yeah.
In the template. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, the go long and the go short buttons do not modify your order in any way. They submit exactly what is set up in here. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So that kind of if I was clear in my description and I am understanding you correctly, that would result in an order being placed above or below, depending upon direction, the bid price, which was probably the last price that the order was filled at, the previous order, and it essentially puts me ahead of the queue for anybody else sitting there.
I would not say that because the last price could have been, so again, taking our 5 tick theoretical spread, the last price could have been at the ask, but your order is going to be placed, in theory, 4 ticks below that if your bid has a 5 tick spread. Yeah.
Okay. If the last order was at the ask on the DOM, that's what would be the current price. In other words, that's the price that would show up on the DOM. So if I was placing the order the way I would want to, I would go 1 tick above it. Or below. Well, let's just talk long for now, so we don't have to be switching back and forth.
Yeah. So you're saying that you definitely want to go 1 tick above the last price, regardless of what the last price was.
Because that gets you ahead of anybody else and almost guarantees to fill. I'm not saying this is necessarily a good idea all the time, but if you're looking at like a quick run where the price is moving very quickly, if you put your order in at market, you may be 50th in the queue and the price may move beyond you. In other words, you'll never get filled. So to do the opposite of that, if you go 1 tick above, you're going to be at the head of the queue because you have the next highest price.
Well,
theoretically.
Sure.
And I was looking for how you set that up, because I never used a chart trader before, so yours was modeled more after the chart trader. So I'm not quite sure of the semantics, the difference between the two. And I was wondering how to simulate that same environment when trading manually.
So, all right. Yeah. So, so it's really your choice. If you want to use the last price, just put the last price in there, plus a tick. Right. But if you want to be guaranteed that you're trading inside the spread, then you would use the bid, bid and ask. So, right. Okay. Yep. So, but also I just want to clarify for anybody listening to this that if you do submit a market order, the exchanges guarantee that your order will get filled. Even if you're 50th in the queue, it will get filled. So depending on the volume. So yeah, if there's not enough volume, then you'll get filled higher wherever that volume is to get you filled.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
But submitting this order the way you're wanting to, Frank, because it's a limit order, there is absolutely no guarantee you'll get filled. Even though you're submitting inside the spread, you're still not guaranteed to get filled.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, that's it. I'm still a little bit confused because anytime I've ever done that using the DOM, it always fills.
Sure. Yep. 99.9999% of the time, you will get filled in liquid markets, but technically, you are not guaranteed to get filled. The exchange,
Okay.
if you didn't get filled, your broker in the exchange is going to tell you that no, you are not guaranteed because you placed a limit order. The volume dried up, and you missed the boat because you decided to submit a limit order. Market order is the only way to guarantee that you'll get filled.
Guarantee to fill. Yeah, no,
Yep.
I understand, but you just don't know the price by the time you do it.
Right. Yes.
If it moves,
exactly.
If it moves beyond where you want to go. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It depends on everybody. As you said, it depends on everybody who's in front of you, and it depends on how much volume is sitting at each price level. Right. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah. So just feel free, Frank, to use the last or the bid or the ask. However you want to mix and match this, and yeah, that'll take care of what you want. So if we want to do the last plus a tick for long orders, there we go, and we can just hit the go long button, and you can even see on the DOM. Yeah, on the DOM, it sat there for a split second, a tick above the last. So, yeah. And let's see if we go short. Bingo, the last price was sitting at 42, and that limit order was down at 41, and it got filled at 43. Yeah, because that's where it would have got filled. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the trick is to set the strategy up according, as you said, and then just simply use the go long or go short button.
Yes. Yep. Go long, go short button.
Okay.
Yep. And then
Gotcha.
it's been a while since we talked about the dynamic planner, so I guess I'll take this opportunity just to remind people. The dynamic planner does take a couple extra steps here, but if you really want to be specific about stuff, of course you could put the dynamic planner in there. And actually, I had started another order. I was going to bring something else up, but let me get rid of that second entry order. Go back to the dynamic planner, and there. So, of course, with the dynamic planner, you have even more control over that, so we could move that order up, adjust it wherever we want to see it according to wherever, price is taking place. And once you have your order dialed in like that, for the most part, I'd say for most cases, the dynamic planner is really going to come in handy for traders who are using kind of like support and resistance levels, and they're wanting to place their entry on some kind of a price action kind of location. You're like at a most recent low or a recent high point, something like that, or maybe you have indicators on your chart kind of conveying support resistance levels, and you want to get your entry order sitting at that resistance level, so we can just move your entry order around wherever you see fit. So like if I wanted to put it a tick above this most recent low point right there, all right, I can place my limit order there, and then just hit execute, and bingo, my order is sitting right there, right where I visually saw it. And as luck would have it, looks like the market might just come down and fill that. So
could you use the up down keys to move that around instead of the cursor for more precision?
Oh, not at this time. We don't really have defined keyboard shortcut keys. Some things, like you may have noticed with Bloodhound, some keys do various functions inside of Bloodhound, and that wasn't really by design. It's more just the programming language. C# kind of just had some default keyboard commands that allowed that to happen inside of Bloodhound. And the case may be for BlackBird. I don't think so though. So we haven't. There's no shortcut keys by design in BlackBird. So not yet. That is on the to-do list. So we've had a couple of requests for that. So
yeah, because that seems like a good way to do it, because that allows you to set up the order completely and then just move it around as the price is moving. But only within, without my motor controls on the mouse aren't stellar.
Right. Yeah, especially when market's moving quickly. So yeah, I could definitely see, if you're using that and then using your arrow keys to move your entry order up or down one tick at a time. Yeah, we definitely see that some shortcut key commands would be pretty handy. Yep. So, and then hit the enter key for the execution. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. You bet. All right. Yeah. I guess we'll wrap this up then. All right, guys. So, again, keep your questions coming. You can always email your questions in ahead of time for these workshops, so to get them answered. Again, just let us know if you're going to email your question in. Just let us know to present your question in the workshop, and we'll do that. We'll hold on to your email and answer it in the workshops. So, all right. Well, with that, gentlemen, have a good weekend, and I hope to see you guys next week. All right. And just one other thing. We are finally getting around to, we're actually testing, we started testing yesterday, a weekly reminder email an hour before the workshops start. So I know it's not a problem for you two. You guys are always here, but for everybody else, yeah, we're gonna we finally got a system set up with our CRM to send out reminder emails 1 hour before the workshops start. So we'll probably just test another week, and once that's done, we'll send out an email for everybody to sign up to get those reminder emails, and hopefully that'll bring a lot more attendance into these workshops. So, okay, guys, with that, have a good one. See you next week. Bye-bye.